This is chapter number 4, Key Elements of a Democratic Government. लोकतांत्रिक सरकार प्रमुख तत्व. We are going to discuss democratic government and what are the basic elements of democratic government. What are the affecting factors? What are those elements and factors? Along with this, what is the use, what is the employability of democratic government towards individuals, and what are the citizens are supposed to do? We'll start with South African example. This South Africa becomes very important because when democracy was established in South Africa, the previous era was something different. Like in India, like in various other countries where colonies were there, it was extremity in the South African region. First thing, we are going to discuss this. South Africa, the constitution of South Africa, when the constitution was made, the constitution was so strong as far as citizens are concerned, the rights are concerned. So the best constitution ever is of South Africa because citizens are kept above. Let me tell you about South Africa first. This is Africa. Now the southmost position, southmost location is South Africa. That is why it is named as South Africa. Very good country right now. And the cricket team is also good. Now, there are different kind of people who live here. Today also. Blacks. First are blacks. The natives. The indigenous. Those who were born there, living there for centuries. Because we have the equator, and wherever equator is there, people are black because of the sun energy, because the intensity of sun is quite high. The other one are brown, and these are Indians. Now, if I can tell you right now, the richest person in South Africa are Indians, Mr. Gupta and family. The third ones were whites. These were whites, and these whites are not natives. They came here for different purposes, and now they established themselves here. So what whites started doing, what they did everywhere, they started these blacks and browns, I'll just call them as blacks. They started marginalizing them. Now how do this Indian came as a laborer, as a trader and laborers. Indians, Pakistanis, Chinese, they came here, mostly Indians. So the story starts here. The name is Maya Naidoo. Now she is an 11-year-old South African girl, and she lives in Johannesburg in South Africa. Very good city again. Now what happened? She was with her mother, and they were just saying all those earlier things which they had, and she saw a picture of a kid. He is a 15-year-old school-going child. Maya asked, "Who is he, Mama?" Mama said, "This is Hector Nudlowu, Hector Peterson." So we'll call him as Hector. So Hector was a school kid, 15 years of age. So what happened to him? He was just 15-year-old, and the mother told that Hector was killed by the police, by the South African police. And when Maya just heard about this, that a 15-year school going kid is killed by police. How did it happen? Mother said, Beta, South Africa was not like this, which you see here. Here we had apartheid laws. This South Africa was governed by apartheid law. That is, there was a clear separation on the basis of the color of the skin, that is race. That is, whites different, blacks different. They are treated differently. Black, Indian, colored races, colored means brown. So they were treated according to the law differently, and you can say in a good manner and in a bad manner, right? And they were not allowed to mingle. Black and whites cannot come together, they cannot talk, they cannot sit together, they cannot even marry. So there was clear law of apartheid. Now Maya got very, perturbed. Her mother said the hospitals were different. For black, for white, different hospitals. Ambulances were different for blacks, whites. The ambulances for white were well equipped. Everything was there. But for blacks, the ambulances were just like, without any equipment, not being cared for. Train, bus, even the bus station were different for whites and blacks. Whites can go anywhere, black cannot go where white places are. It was clearly mentioned on placard, no blacks allowed. Apart from this, the black and brown, as I said, I'm taking them together. The most important thing was the blacks were not allowed to vote. They had no voting right. And the best land of South Africa was with the whites. The wasteland, the land with stones, the Banjar Zameen, non-fertile land was given to the blacks. They were ghettoized. Ghettoization was there. That is the black or the color. There were a lot of distinction. There were non-equality, discrimination. Now, who is this kid? Who is this kid? You know by now. What happened? There is a black township, and it's southwestern township, Soweto. Soweto was the name of that place. What happened? Hector was going to the school. He was just 15-year old, like you and others. He's just a normal kid. Now, what happened? The white people, they would speak Afrikaans, English and Afrikaans, basically Afrikaans. So they forced the blacks to learn this. They wanted everyone to learn Afrikaans. But the blacks, they have their Matrabhasha or the mother language as Zulu, like we have Hindi or English. So they started, these kids just like, any other kid, they came outside of the school, they start protesting that we won't learn Zulu. In India, what happened? General Dyer came and he just ordered to shoot all the kids, all the women, men, they died. And exactly this happened in Soweto. South African police, they shooted indiscriminately on these small kids. He is Hector. He, in the lap of that kid, is Hector. He was killed by the police at that time. 30th April 1976 was the date. That's what the date. Now here is a very great man I'm showing you, Nelson Mandela. You talk about Gandhiji, you talk about Nelson Mandela, you talk about Martin Luther King. These big names, Nelson Mandela, they are all, the elite people who actually did. He, more than 25 years, he was put behind jail. He was detained just because he wanted equality. He wanted democracy. So African National Congress, he was the, supremo, and you see how Hector was killed, you might realize how people were killed at that time. But in 1994, after all these, people gave their life, their blood, and 1994, South Africa became a democratic country, Loktantra, democratic country. I hope you got the idea. All races were given equal status. Coming to participation. In participation, what we do? If you come to India, we say you have a ward, you elect a ward member or an MLA or an MP. Now we go and cast our vote. The thing is that in 100 people, only 60 people go to vote. That is, only 60% voting is done. So 40% people are not voting. That is the first problem which every democracy is facing. So we vote, and for 5 years, these are elected. These leaders, our representatives, are elected. And these MLAs, they make the state government. The MPs, they make the central government. So state government, central government, for 5 years, they run. These are our representatives. So as I said, all the governments are generally fixed for fixed period. But if this government is there, run for 5 years, and if the government want to be elected, what they have to do? 2004, Indian National Congress was elected. It was UPA. So United Progressive Alliance. 2009, if they wanted to come, they have to do something. So before 2004, after 2004 and 2009, they make Manrega. They created RTI Act. Very good laws they made. They did it for the country. So they came again in 2009 with the good majority. But in between 2009 and 2014, it was coal scam. It was 2G scam. And it was not only Congress, it was all the other UPA alliance it is. So 2014, Modi ji came. Basically, you can say BJP came. 2014, people wanted change. And after that, 2019, BJP need to work so that they can come in 2019. And BJP basically Hindutva, 80% Indian population is Hindu. So they propagated that. They did good job. They did Ujjwala Yojana and bathrooms they created, cleanliness, and the Balakot strike they did. In 2019, they got again elected with more majority. But if the BJP has to come in 2024, they don't speak about Hindu-Muslim. They don't talk about racial discrimination or Jatiwad. If they have to come, they have to do concrete for the country. Previously, it was said Indira Gandhi, she was our very good Prime Minister. It was being said Indira is India, India is Indira. Now today it is being said Modi ji is India, India is Modi ji. But if Modi ji is not working, people are going to just change them. So if the government has to be re-elected, any representative has to be re-elected, he or she has to work for the people. So how do we participate? We give vote, we come back and we do our normal routine activity. No, it's not like that, sir. If you vote, then your work starts from here. Your participation for the government, for your participation for the country increases. I'll give you an example. In 2005, some state government, so because most of the government were Congress government, so in 2005, one of the government, they increased the electricity bill. And electricity is the basic need of everyone. When they saw this, everyone saw, it is so basic. So the people came out on the road, they started rallying, they started protesting, they organized a signature campaign. So when people came on the road, they started protesting, the majority government also, they have to change their decision because they understood that it is against the good of the people. They are going against what the people want. So there are various other ways in how you and I, as a citizen of India or a country, we can do dharnas, we can go rallies, we can go for strikes, we can do the signature campaigns. So there are so many ways. If you find it unfair and unjust that the government is doing not the right work, There are other ways also. There are different pillars of government, or you can the institution who can put our ideas or thoughts in front of the government, like newspaper, magazine, TV. But today it's not going well because TV is asking the opposition, not the government. The television people are not asking the government why the things are not going well. So the government is elected by us. We are paying the tax. They are running the government because of us. So they are answerable to us for the country. There is another way. Social movements are important. Andolans are important. Dalits, Muslims are living in a pathetic condition in India. Adivasis, tribes, women. You always see women. They are raped. Women condition has never gone better in India. So all these you can say marginalized classes, if they have to do something, they have to tell something to the government. How do they do it? They have to come on the road. They have to tell the government. They have to protest. They have to do the virod. I'll give you CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, when it came and the BJP government put it. They made an act. The main thing was every religion from other country can be given citizenship except Muslims. So the Muslim, because we have around 14-15% Muslim, they got worried. But still the government took everyone who leaded, and they Deshdroh and all these Kanun, they pushed all the laws under them. They just put them in behind the bars. So as a human being, as a citizen of the country, if you're not alert, if you're not interested how the company is running, if you're not interested in how the government is working, if you're not thoughtful about how the country is developing, then you are not a good citizen. You are not even a citizen, right? For democracy, it requires you to be a part of the country's development. So what happens? We have different religion, different race. So what happens? People fight. Small fights, small conflicts become, for example, one is Hindu, one is Muslim. Now Hindu is majority, around 80% plus. One leader will come, politician will come. They will say that these Muslims have come from outside and just kill these Muslims. They are not good people like this. So these normal, ordinary people, they understand that Muslims are not good and they start killing them. They started fighting with them. So basically what happens, people are like you and me are normal. But when this politics, they start doing these bad activities, they start instigating people, that is the problem. Now when a religion or a race, they start thinking that other cultures, other religion, other region, other economic backgrounds are bad. We are good. We are the best. We are the only one. Others should not be here. This is where discrimination starts. For example, the Dalits and the Muslims, they have fear because they are being lynched. They are being killed. They are being, detained without any reason, and they are put behind the bars. So people get fearful. What happens whenever there is some procession like Ramzan procession or some Ganpati Visarjan procession? What happens? There are bad people in each community, right? We have bad people. Most of the people are good, but some are bad elements. So they started throwing stones. They try to disrupt. They say bad language. So now the conflict will start, and this is how the danga starts. And they just, the public property is vandalized, right? So now the police becomes important because police is representing the government. So it becomes important that now these kind of things doesn't happen whenever there is a procession or whenever there is something of religious faith is going on. One more thing is that people say jar zoru zameen, like the land, like the wife, all and the money, they create all the crimes. It's not that. Right? Your money and wife and the money, this land, these are not only the problem of conflict or the cause of conflict. See, this is a Kaveri river. And this Kaveri river is a main cause of conflict between various states, specifically Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Now this river, or you can say river, the wind or air and the birds, they don't know the boundaries. So water just takes its path and they move. So water starts from here, Kaveri, and in between it starts from Karnataka, and in between it also the distributaries go to Kerala, and then it vanishes. It ends at the Tamil Nadu, the Kaveri Delta. Now, if you see, these are all major dams. So two dams I am talking about. In Karnataka, this is at higher place. So the water comes from Karnataka and goes down to Bay of Bengal. So Karnataka is higher up. At Karnataka, the government has made the Krishna Sagar Dam. Krishna Sagar Dam. There is a dam on Karnataka, on Kaveri river. So whenever the gate will open, then only water will come. And this water is utilized all over the Karnataka, and also the Bangalore, the big city, the metro city now, is also dependent on this Kaveri river only. Coming to the Tamil Nadu is very hot. It's very near to equator, so the water scarcity is always there. Now the water coming from Kaveri, all the you can say the agriculture activity, the water is needed from Kaveri only. It's utilized from this Kaveri only. So if this Karnataka is making a dam, the Tamil Nadu is not getting enough water. I hope you understand the problem. So this problem, how to resolve this conflict? The government has to sit together. They have to say, okay, 10 amount is water, 6 amount you take, 4 amount you take. Oh, no, Kerala is also there. Give 1 amount to Kerala. Oh, Puducherry is also there. Give 1 amount to this Puducherry. So finally, in 2007, the Supreme Court verdict came, and they decided and they gave a decision that this much of water, that is the amount of water which is given to different parts. If I talk about equality and justice, whenever democratic government is there, the main job of democratic government is equality and justice for everyone, without any caste, creed, religion, sex, gender, anything. Everyone should equality and justice. Previously, what would happen? This is showing that the Dalits cannot enter mandir or temple. This is a social stigma on us as a country, that people like us are not allowed in the temples. So this is not equality, this is not justice. This is inequality and injustice with the Dalits, with the scheduled caste. Then Ambedkar Sahab came, and all those big leaders came, and they fought for their rights, and the situation has improved now. The government also they recognize government is doing work. They also recognize Dalit, Muslim, Adivasi women. So these are the people, or these are the those category. They are always marginalized. For example, boy, girl, they are killed in the mother's womb. The sex ratio is very less in India. But I'm not talking about whole India. Kerala, it's matriarchal. In Jammu Kashmir, it's matriarchal society. But in north belt, Indian belt, it's totally patriarchal. Means only boys and men. So the government have thoughtful of this thing, and they have they have done the provision that there shouldn't be injustice with the girls. So they have waived off or lowered the government school or college fees for the girl, so that everyone can afford to send their girl to learn, to study in the different schools, colleges. Okay? These all Dahej and all these things we need to get rid of. Okay, thank you so much. Take care of yourself.